In this video, we're going to be taking a look at our all-new universal T-track mounts for both the CRC fly rod carriers and the ARC conventional rod carriers. So these mounts will work on crossbars that have a T-track, and they are compatible with all of our rod carriers from the CRC system versions through the ARC system versions. For this install, we're going to need a 13mm socket and or a 13mm box end wrench. If you have a ratcheting style, it makes things that much easier. So before we get started on the install, let's take a look at what's inside the box. So inside the box, you'll have your user manual. You'll have 2 bags of hardware, including the keys for the mounts, and you'll have 2 complete mounts. Okay, so here's the T-track mounts. You'll see they come assembled with the T-nuts that go inside your rod carriers. So to get started, we're going to do a little bit of disassembly and make sure all of our parts are here. So inside each bag, you will have the nuts and hardware for each mount. So you'll have these plastic washers and plastic push nuts. These will only be used when installing on the CRC system, and that's the only difference in installation between the ARC and the CRC. You'll have M8 T-track nuts for your crossbar, or if your crossbar has M6, you'll have those as well. You also have various hardware bolts, washers, and you'll see how all that works as we begin to install these. So we'll set the hardware bags aside for now, and we'll start with disassembling these and getting them ready and prepped for installation. The first step is unlocking the mounts. Sliding the tray out. And that's how you'll access the M8 nuts on the bottom of your T-nuts. We'll take these off. You may need to use a tool. These are nylock so that they don't vibrate loose when mounted. So disassemble your T-nuts on both mounts. And now your base plate is disassembled and it's ready to be mounted on top of your crossbar. For demonstration purposes, we're going to be using small sections of crossbar that's commonly found on various roof rack systems. All of these sections are equipped with a T-track or a T-slot, and that's what's needed for our T-track mounts. Your bars may be shaped with more of an arrow profile, they may be shaped with a double profile, or you may have a single bar with just the one track, or something different. Our mounts work on all the different styles that are out there. For this video, we're going to be using these 2 sections to replicate our crossbars on the vehicle. So we're going to set these out, and again, just pretend these are the crossbars that are mounted on top of your roof rack. So the first thing we want to do is find out which size T-nut and T-bolt will be required for your specific bar. That varies by manufacturer. I know that these are the M8 style. So we'll grab our hardware bag and locate the M8 larger T-nut and the M8 larger bolt. Because our bar only has a single track, we're only going to need 2 nuts and 2 bolts per mount. On the base plate, you'll notice that we have various bolt patterns and spacing. So if your bar had 2 slots, those bolts will line up accordingly. But if your bar just has the 1 slot, like we'll be doing today, it also lines up down the center. So let's just start with installing the first mount on the first bar. So I've located 2 M8 T-nuts, 2 M8 bolts, and 2 M8 stainless steel washers. To start, we'll put the washer on the bolt, determine the spacing we're going to be using, and we'll loosely install our M8 T-nut. You want the small boss to be facing downward when installing this. It would look something like this. We can go ahead and install both. With these loosely installed, you'll have something like this. So we'll slide these into the track on our bar. Once you have these installed in the position that you want on your roof rack, you're ready to tighten these down with your 13mm socket. One thing to note is you'll want the open side of the bracket, not the closed side. This is your closed side, this is your open side. You want this open side facing outboard of the vehicle so that you can install the locking shroud that you see here when you're all done and have easy access to your key. So we get this in place and we tighten this down with our 13mm socket. So that one's ready to go. You'll now move to your other crossbar and do the same process, and you want to take some measurements and ensure that these are spaced the same so that your carrier is nice and straight on top of your vehicle when you're all done. Measure your spacing to make sure that your carrier will be straight. So again, because we're trying to make this easy to follow and a small space for the video, these would actually be quite a bit further apart on your roof rack. You want at least 32 inches of spacing. And from here, you're now ready to start mounting your carrier. So now that our base plates of the T-Track mounts are mounted on our crossbars, it's time to mount the carrier to the base plate. For the demonstration of this video, we're going to start with the CRC system. Between the CRC system and the ARC system, there's a slight difference in the order of assembly for mounting. We're going to walk through that first. To keep this video as simple as possible on this small table, I have here just one section of aluminum from the CRC system. Every section of the CRC has a mounting slot, just like you see here, and you can pick where to mount on all 4 of those sections of that carrier. So to start, we're going to install the T-nuts inside the tracks of the CRC system. We're going to take 2 T-nuts that come with your universal T-Track system, and you'll notice on the back there's a small boss that's cut in a square pattern on each nut. And that boss is designed to key into the smaller slot on the bottom of your CRC system. So it'll look something like this, and what that does is prevents this from rotating when you're tightening down. So we'll pick which tube we're going to mount the first mount to. We'll take the T-nut and the provided large plastic washer and the smaller push nut. And what we do is we put the washer on first and the push nut on second. Slide that into the slot on the bottom of your CRC so that the large washer is resting on the top and the T-nut is underneath inside the slot. And then you'll push that little plastic push nut all the way down to hold that metal nut in place. Again, what these do is they hold the nut in position so it can't rotate when you're tightening down onto your mount. We'll repeat the process for the next nut. You'll want to push those all the way down to hold that nut as tight as possible. So from here, you should be able to slide these nuts around without them falling out of your CRC system. You'll repeat that same process with the next 2 nuts on whatever section lines up with your forward or your rear mount. So you'll have 2 nuts per mount, a total of 4 T-nuts in your rod carrier. Okay, so moving the camera a little bit closer, you can see how I have these T-nuts inside the bottom mounting slot of my CRC. We're now going to pick the CRC up, rest it on top of your mounts momentarily, just so you can get everything lined up. And then when you're ready, you'll slide these nuts and line them up with the 2 holes on the top of your mounting base. So you can see one sticking through the hole here and the other sticking through over here. You'll repeat that process for your rear mount, but for this video, we're just going to focus on this one. You're ready to put the washer and the nuts on both of these bolts and tighten it down. Keep in mind, on the CRC system, we went with a lightweight anodized aluminum, so you don't need to crank these nuts down. The torque spec is in your manual. You just want to snug it up enough to hold it tight so that the carrier isn't moving. Over torquing on these nuts can bend the aluminum on the thin wall of your CRC system. So taking your stainless steel M8 washer and your Nylock M8 nut, you'll have 4 of these in the kit. You're just going to tighten down all 4 bolts that are sticking through the holes on your mounts. Now you can take your 13mm ratcheting box end or standard box end wrench and tighten these. Again, you don't need to over tighten these. Snug them up so that your carrier doesn't move. Okay, now that all of our bolts on both mounts are tight, the carrier is secure and it's in the correct position on your vehicle that you want it, now we're ready to lock the mounts in place. So your locking shroud is designed to slide into position, cover all of your nuts and bolts, and then lock in place with this stainless steel cover. You'll notice we have a rubber coating on these little teeth. That's designed to have a nice tight fit in these rear slots and prevent any rattling and noise while you're driving. So we line up the little teeth into the little slots on the back, push your shroud all the way back into position, and with it pushed all the way in, we lock it into place and you're done. Repeat this process on your other mount and you are ready to go fish. Okay, now that we've mounted the CRC system and seen how that works, now we're going to look at the ARC or the ARC system and show the difference and how those mount to our universal T-tracks. So with the mount bases already installed on our crossbars, for this video we're going to use a small section of the extruded aluminum that makes up the shell and the tubes of your ARC system. So this is just cut in half, and I'm going to use this so it's a little smaller to show. So just to orient yourself, this is the lower side in this video of the ARC system that you'll be mounting to. This track normally runs the entire 6 to 10 foot length of your carrier. Using this as our example, let's start by prepping our T-nuts. So earlier in the video, we mounted the CRC system, and to do so we needed these large plastic washers and these small push nuts on all of our metal T-nuts that go inside of our mounts. When mounting the ARC system, we don't use these plastic washers or these plastic push nuts. So if you have those installed, go ahead and remove those now. So now all 4 of your T-nuts will look like this, and you're ready to go ahead and mount your ARC system. We're going to take our ARC, we're going to set it on top of these mounts that are already mounted to the top of your crossbars. Once you're comfortable with that, you'll take your T-nuts, you have 4 in total, 2 T-nuts per mount, and you'll slide these inside the groove on the bottom of the ARC system. So it'll look something like this. Once all 4 T-nuts are inside the lower T-track of your ARC, you're ready to go ahead and align them to the base and snug everything up. So with your ARC system resting on top of your mounts, you'll slightly lift one end up and slide your nuts into position. So you'll repeat this process and drop the other 2 T-nuts into position on the other mount. Once everything's straight and in the correct location, you're ready to attach the nuts and tighten everything down. On each of the bolts sticking through the holes, we'll use an M8 stainless steel washer and an M8 nylock nut. Now using your 13mm box end wrench, you can tighten these down. You can follow the torque specs that are listed in your manual. Once your nuts are tight, you'll repeat this process on your other mount. Once that's complete, you're ready to use your locking shroud and lock these in place. You'll align the rubber padded teeth with the small slots on the back of your mounts. Press the shroud all the way forward until it's seated, and then turn the lock counterclockwise to lock in place. Repeat that process on the other mount and you're done. So that wraps up how to mount our new universal T-tracks. A few parting thoughts. The T-track mounts are made of stainless steel and they're electroplated to this black finish. We have rubber padding any place that it contacts your carrier, as well as rubber padding on the inside that prevents any vibration noise while you're driving around. They stand just 1.15 inches off your roof rack. So this is the lowest profile mounting that we offer, and they are compatible with all CRC models and all ARC ARC models. And last, we do provide all the mounting hardware that you'll need for the vast majority of roof rack crossbars that have a T-track. Most bars are either an M8 T-track or an M6 T-track. And we have all of those nuts and bolts included in the kit. If your roof rack has something that's non-standard or deviates from those two sizes, just contact your rack manufacturer and our mounts will be compatible with whatever nuts and bolts that they require. If you have any questions or any trouble in mounting your T-tracks, just give us a call at 406-202-3500 or email support@trxstle.com.